They said the past always follows a soldier home, but no one warned Admiral Rebecca Hale that sometimes the past walks into a briefing room wearing worn boots, carrying a lunchbox shaped like a dinosaur, and answering to a call sign she hadn't heard since the night she thought she lost him forever. When she asked a harmless question meant to break the ice, "What's your call sign, Sergeant?" she expected a laugh. Maybe a humble shrug. She did not expect Viper 1. And when he said it, the room went silent, because that was the call sign of the man who saved her life 13 years ago. The man everyone believed died doing it. The man now standing in front of her, alive, scarred, and holding the hand of a little girl with his eyes. This is the story of what came after. The storm came early that morning, rolling across the naval base with a kind of gray hunger that made even the most seasoned sailors flinch. Admiral Rebecca Hale didn't flinch. She stood inside the echoing briefing hall, fingers pressed against the spine of her clipboard like she could anchor herself to something solid. Today she was hosting a new intake of veterans transitioning into civilian contract work, mentorship, training, placement. A routine assignment. A formality. But nothing felt routine this week. Sleep had been scarce. Memories had been loud. And every night lately she had dreamt of the same desert sky, the same explosion, the same voice shouting, "Go! I've got the line!" The same man she never saw again. To shake the tension, she decided to do what she often did. Start light. The door opened. Boots stepped in. A small cluster of veterans walked through. Some stiff-backed, some soft-eyed, all carrying stories stitched into their uniforms even though they now wore civilian clothes. She greeted each name on her list until she reached the last one. "Sergeant Luke Rourke," she called, lifting her visor. When he stepped forward, her breath snagged. He looked like time had carved him out of grief and grit, broad-shouldered, sharp-jawed, with eyes that carried thunder under calm water. But that wasn't what stunned her. A little girl clung to his sleeve. 6, maybe 7, clutching a worn stuffed fox. Curly hair. Bright eyes. A quiet bravery. "Sorry, ma'am," Rourke said gently, glancing down at the child. "Didn't have time to arrange childcare." "It's all right," she said, unsure why her heartbeat was tripping over itself. "We're happy to have you both." His voice. His posture. Something about him pressed a cold finger down her spine. When the introductions began, she forced her tone to lighten. She pointed playfully at him. "All right, Sergeant Rourke. Let's start with you. What was your call sign?" Everyone chuckled. A harmless icebreaker. He didn't laugh. He didn't even blink. He simply said, "Viper 1." The room stilled like it had been vacuum sealed. Rebecca felt her blood drain to her boots. Her throat tightened. Her clipboard slipped from her hand and clattered loudly against the floor, yet she barely heard it. Because Viper 1 wasn't just a call sign. It was the call sign of the soldier who dragged her out of burning shrapnel, who threw her behind a concrete barrier before taking the blast meant for them both. The man the report listed as Kia. The man she privately mourned for years. The man whose dog tags she still kept hidden in her desk drawer because she was never able to let them go. And now he was standing 10 feet away. Alive. Breathing. Real. Her voice cracked. That can't be." Luke Rourke's jaw flexed as if bracing for a punch. "Yeah," he murmured. "I figured you'd react like that." Then the little girl tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, are you okay?" Rebecca's world spun. Daddy. The man she once believed died saving her life had a daughter. And fate had just delivered him back into her command. Rebecca tried to dismiss the group to give herself time to breathe, but her voice refused to obey her. When the others shuffled out, she stayed frozen in place, eyes locked on the veteran who wasn't supposed to exist. Luke waited until the room emptied before he spoke. Quiet, calm, but carrying the weight of a decade. "Before you say anything," he said, resting a protective hand on his daughter's shoulder, "she's not part of any official file. She's just my kid. That's all." Rebecca swallowed hard. "That's not what Luke, how are you alive?" He gave a humorless smirk. "Long story. None of it pretty." She sank into a chair because her knees were trembling. "We held a memorial for you." The report said, "You were gone." Yeah. I read my own death report once. A shadow crossed his features. They weren't wrong. A piece of me did die that day. He didn't elaborate, but the scars peeking from beneath his collar did the talking for him. Rebecca felt her chest tighten, anger, confusion, grief, relief all knotting together so fiercely she couldn't breathe. "I looked for you," she whispered. "I fought for updates. For any trace. They told me I had to let go." Luke's eyes softened, recognition, guilt, something unspoken flickering across them. "I know you did. Word gets around. But once they shipped me stateside in classified condition, I wasn't exactly in shape to reach out." Rebecca hesitated. "And after? After meant years. After meant the nights she spent wondering why she survived when better men didn't. After meant the ache she couldn't explain." His jaw hardened. "After, the army told me I was done. Body broken. Career over. And then, Emily happened." He glanced at his daughter, whose tiny hands now explored her fox plush as if sensing the tension. Rebecca realized then, Luke wasn't just a ghost returning from the dead. He was a single father carrying more weight than any uniform ever held. "What about her mother?" she asked gently. His voice cracked in the smallest, rawest way. "Gone. 3 years now." Silence swelled between them. Heavy. Human. True. Rebecca leaned forward, her command mask slipping away. "Luke, you don't have to do this alone." He exhaled slowly, as if those words both comforted and terrified him. "I'm here to work. Provide. Give her a life that isn't built on the scraps of who I used to be." "She doesn't need scraps," Rebecca said. "She needs you." A long, trembling breath escaped him. "And I'm trying." Their eyes held years of grief, of almosts, of unfinished conversations stretching across the space. Then Emily tugged his sleeve again. "Daddy, I'm hungry." Luke blinked, grounding himself. "Right. We'll go grab something." Rebecca stood before he could turn away. "Wait." He paused. "Luke. Viper 1. Her voice steadied with something she hadn't felt in a long time. "Purpose. Whatever mission brought you back here, you don't have to face it alone anymore." For the first time since he walked in, his hardened expression cracked, not into a smile, but into something far more fragile, hope trying to remember how to breathe. He nodded once. "We'll see." And as he led his daughter out of the room, Rebecca realized something she never expected. The man she once mourned wasn't a ghost. He was a father. A survivor. And maybe, just maybe, the beginning of a story she was finally strong enough to finish.